The following is a live presentation of CBC Sports. Many in the crowd at Lansdowne Park in Ottawa have bought tickets in the hope of seeing the professional football debut of the Rocket. They've already been disappointed, and so now it remains for the rest of Adam Rita's Toronto Argos and the Ottawa Rough Riders under Steve Goldman to play the 1991 season opener on the CFL on CBC. Bruce McNall, John Candy, and Wayne Gretzky brought Hollywood glitz to Toronto when they bought the Argos in February, and then created an even bigger story when they signed the most expensive football player in the world. Raghib Ismail, hereinafter referred to as the Rocket, dazzled at Notre Dame. A consensus #1 NFL draft pick, he opted for Canada and immediately began a honeymoon with fans and media. No other CFL signing was ever as heralded as this one. Reporters hung on Rocket's every word. The combination of player and owners, surely the best thing to happen to the CFL in recent memory. A story that not even an institute of higher broadcasting like the CBC could resist. Then it came time for football, and the Rocket has been proven only human. A muscle pull just days into training camp has rendered him inactive. He got no closer to action than the bench in both Argo preseason games, and the most often asked question in the days leading up to the CFL season opener, would the Rocket play? Conditions are good in the nation's capital for a rocket launch, but the Rocket will stay on the pad for at least one more week. The launch is on hold. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Ottawa, where the major story of this game is not who will play in it, but who will not. We've known since yesterday morning that Rocket Ismail will not play tonight. The Rocket held a press conference in Toronto yesterday to confirm the injury he suffered in training camp will keep him out of tonight's game, and to declare that he's as frustrated about it as anybody else. He is in Ottawa for the game. Late this afternoon, he arrived with Argo owner Bruce McNall and company on the owner's private jet. And about 90 minutes ago, they got to Lansdowne Park, where Ismail faced another media contingent, answering, it seemed, innumerable questions about his state of health and his state of mind. He has yet to catch a pass, yet to return a punt or a kick, but he holds the CFL record for press conferences. Raghib Ismail is with us now to answer one more question yet. It's not a new one, it's a pretty obvious one. When do you think you can play?
I think that I feel that I can play today, but the doctors told me that that wouldn't be smart. And they told me that it's going to be something where if everything goes the way they think it should go with the test and everything, I should be ready next week.
Gib, thanks for your time now. We're happy to say that you've agreed to join us on Live at the Half to talk about some of the intense scrutiny you've been under and perhaps some of the wild speculation you've been the subject of. We look forward to seeing you then.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Well, Raghib Ismail's signing in the offseason was certainly the most talked about transaction in the CFL, but there was one that greatly affected our CFL on CBC crew. Before we get to that, there's John Candy now entering the stadium, one of the Argo partners, and as you can see, he's a big hit with this crowd. And I was saying that Ron Lancaster, our Hall of Fame quarterback and our expert analyst, returned to coaching with the Edmonton Eskimos. And so tonight, we welcome to our broadcast crew a former coach and general manager in this league, Joe Galad, who was in the booth to describe the proceedings with Don Whitman.
Well, both the Ottawa Rough Riders and the Toronto Argonauts have high hopes for this 1991 season. Both are expected to have explosive offenses. Scott?
Well, if $18 million of the Rockets' contract is guaranteed, then he's collecting about $250,000 for not playing tonight, and this is a man who's paying a substantial portion of it. Principal Argonaut owner Bruce McNall. Bruce, you're used to very positive press. You get lots of it for the way you handle the Kings in the NHL. You got lots when you bought the Argos and signed the Rocket in the CFL, but in the past week, this has become something of a negative story. Has it been handled properly?
Well, I think that if everybody knew all the facts from the beginning, it would have been a lot easier, frankly, but you know, it's one of those things that nobody really knew exactly what was happening from the standpoint of his thigh. The injury was there. We were all concerned about it. He was very frustrated. He wanted to play, and he kept saying, "I want to play." But I have this thing. So we took him to Los Angeles and had the Kings doctor Lombardo look at him as well, and said, "No, he's got this injury." And bingo, there we are. But in a way, you always wish that things could have been handled a little bit smoother, but with injuries like this, there's no certainties about anything.
I must ask you about the Los Angeles trip. I know that it was in part to receive a second medical opinion, but we also understand that it was a pre-planned business trip. What about the prudency of being in Los Angeles, away from his team for 4 or 5 days on the eve of them preparing for the season opener?
Well, one of the things that's happened, unfortunately, whether we like it or not, is we're trying to sell the sport all around the world, basically, and make sure that Canadian football has a little attention. And about 4 or 5 weeks ago, the CFL, we were able to make a deal for the trading card business for the CFL in general. And one of the requirements that they had was for him to be there at this big show. So we made an arrangement for him to come out for 1 day, something I'm used to with Wayne a lot. It happens even during the season with him too. You get used to these things. And because that came along, we decided to try to have the second medical opinion at the same time.
Well, you know now with each practice he misses, each game he doesn't play, the pressure mounts. It's enormous now, and I'm wondering if you still feel confident that when he takes the field to play a game, he'll do something to prove he's worth the money, and that you'll feel you can recover the investment.
Well, you certainly hope so. You know, I'm sure that he's used to pressure. I mean, it seems like a lot of pressure at the moment. He's used to it at Notre Dame too, let's face it. He's a young man who's been used to pressure all of his life. This is not unusual. I wouldn't be too concerned with it, and I'm sure when he gets on the field, he'll get a lot of people, a lot of thrills.
The suggestion would be he'll play next week at the Sky Dome before the hometown fans, even if he's on a stretcher. Is that a fair assumption?
Yeah, we'll wheel him out there. Actually, you know, he's okay now. It's just that he hadn't practiced in 3 weeks, hadn't been out in conditioner at all for 3 weeks because of the injury held him back. So as I understand it now, the doctor said that his injury is now okay. He just has to get back in practice, get in game shape, and I'm sure he'll be able to play next week.
Bruce, thanks for your time. We appreciate it.
Happy to, no problem.
Riders General Manager Joanne Polak, who is looking at a crowd probably larger than you would have had not many of these tickets been bought in anticipation of the Rocket playing. If he was playing, could you have sold it out?
There's a couple of issues involved. There's the fact that this game is being broadcast in our local market for the first time. There's the fact that he's not playing. It's hard to say what all the variables would have added up to, but there's no question the interest in this game has been higher than anything I've seen since I've been here.
Well, you've had to try no end of things to get fans in the ballpark in the past few years. Did the Rocket make it a little bit easy for you this time?
Yeah, it was really nice because nobody can blame me for this one. No, it was nice. He really did, you know, so many people talked about this game this week. There's not a person in this market who doesn't know the Rough Riders are playing the Argos here at Lansdowne tonight.
Joanne, when the Rocket was signed, there was some concern about his huge contract throwing the CFL salary structure out of whack, but you knew the schedule when he was signed. I suppose that you were delighted that Bruce McNall signed him and paid him all that money because he was coming here first until the injury.
There's no question. As soon as I heard that they'd signed him, I looked at the schedule and just about fell off my chair, realizing that his debut was supposed to be here at Lansdowne, but it's kind of a nice way to start the season with this kind of hype, and I think he's going to be nothing but good things for every single park across the country.
All right, Joanne, we thank you for your time.
Thank you, Scott.
Fans settling into their seats here at Lansdowne Park. They will not see Rocket Ismail play tonight, but we should not forget that Toronto Argo games against the Ottawa Rough Riders are often very entertaining. We'll return to Lansdowne Park in just a moment. If you've just joined us, we've been talking about the delay in the pro debut of Rocket Ismail, who will not play tonight. Let's talk about somebody who will. 9-year CFL veteran Jeff Boyd is back with the Argos. He thought he was done with the team because of a contract dispute. The Argos thought they didn't need him with Ismail in the lineup. But with Ismail out, it didn't take long for the Argos to agree to Boyd's demand for some upfront money, and he rejoined the team on Monday.
Well, I'm just going to go out and try and catch the ball. Going into training camp, they had me penciled in opposite Rocket, so I don't know what the situation is. I just want to go and catch the ball. I think when Rocket gets here, he's going to help us tremendously. So I'm just looking forward to playing with him.
Jeff Boyd's a classy receiver. He caught passes last year for over 1,000 yards, and that total raises a very interesting point. That is that even without the Rocket, the Argos still have substantial talent.
The Toronto Argonauts have Matt Dunnigan directing the attack. Last year they recorded a record number of points, and Dunnigan did not play the entire season. He could have a big year.
The thing about Matt Dunnigan is that he is not just a quarterback. He's an honorary lineman. He's that tough. So when you have Matt Dunnigan in there, you've got a guy that wants to win, shows that he wants to win. He's a good team leader.
And Matt Dunnigan has a tremendous number of offensive tools to work with. One of the most important is his leading pass receiver last year, Darrell K. Smith. He equaled the league record for touchdowns grabbing 20 passes and putting the ball into the end zone. So Darrell Smith will undoubtedly be a favorite target of Matt Dunnigan.
Darrell K. Smith has said some things about the Rocket that he didn't like, and he's going to have a chance now to show us that he's the football player that can do some evaluating on rookies. So this will be his night.
Well, Darrell K. Smith looks to duplicate his performance of last season, and there will be a tremendous number of those to assist him in that Toronto Argonaut offensive machine. Scott? Adam Rita, an assistant for a number of years under Don Matthews in BC, followed Matthews to Toronto, and now is the head coach of the Toronto Argonauts. And he is the man that many give credit to for installing this very explosive offense that the Argos use. Reggie Barnes and Stefan Jones are back to return the kickoff. Reggie Barnes will let it bounce out of bounds at the 22-yard line, so that means the Toronto Argonauts will perform that kickoff chore over again. Matt Dunnigan, the Toronto quarterback, did not complete the season last year. He was injured for a good portion of the year. Threw the ball 262 times, completed 144, 17 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. A healthy Matt Dunnigan could make an already powerful Toronto offense even more effective.
Don't be deceived by Matt Dunnigan's blonde hair and blue eyes. He's not a West Coast guy. He's from Texas, born in Ohio.
Dunnigan will run it. And Dunnigan will get the first down up across the 35-yard line. These quarterbacks, Dunnigan and Allen, were teammates at one time with the Edmonton Eskimos, and they are similar style. They can both run with the football.
Would Carl Foley please report to the Rider?
Well, they need the pass rush out of Greg Stuman, and more importantly, they need Jeff Braswell to come up and make tackles on the quarterback scrambles like you just saw.
First and 10 from the 36. Clemens takes the ball on the sidelines, lost the football. Who's got it? The Argos, I believe, have recovered. It appeared as though Keith Kelly came up to pounce on that football after Daniel Hunter stripped Mike Clemens. Second down and about 2 as Kelly made the recovery. And Kelly is the ball carrier and should have the first down. Boyd, the receiver, looking for a first down. He appears to have been stopped about a yard short by Charles Wright. Dunnigan is going to throw it. It's complete for a big first down. Trumaine Johnson down at the 30-yard line, and the Toronto Argonauts on second and short go for the big pass, but Dunnigan walks back to the huddle, and that left arm he appears to be favoring.
One thing that Matt Dunnigan knows is that he's got some veterans at the receiver position, and what he did on a 1 yard to go situation is he spread everybody out, took advantage of their defense thinking tight play.
He may have taken a hit on that left arm from Lloyd Lewis, who made the tackle just as Dunnigan threw the ball. The reverse with Mike Clemens. Patrick Wayne is the man who makes the tackle. They couldn't seal him off. Lance Chomik was in a training camp battle for the place-kicking job with the Argos with a former Ottawa Rough Rider, Dean Dorsey. Chomik won the job, will try a 33-yard field goal. It's good. So the Toronto Argonauts are first on the board with a 33-yard Lance Chomik field goal. 7:31 remains in the quarter. Last year, the Canadian Football League operated with 6 officials. This year, there are 7. The new official is referred to as the side judge, and the league feels, the officiating staff feel, that this will allow them to completely box all plays and in most instances allow at least 2 and in many situations 3 looks from various locations at the majority of plays.
I think you'll get much better coverage on the receivers, and so many of them are adapted catching that football down low to the ground and trapping it. This way every receiver will be looked at.
2nd and 8, 6:57 remaining in this opening quarter. Damon Allen gets away from the initial pressure, trying to run for a first down, and he'll get it taken out of bounds, and there's a penalty flag. A late hit will be assessed against the Toronto Argonauts as Damon Allen was taken down heavily as he scampered out of bounds. Carl Brazeley and Darryl Ford made the contact, and I think they're going to call Darryl Ford with the late hit.
Original pressure was here.
Yeah.
Chris Gaines applied the original pressure coming up the middle, and that's what Damon Allen escaped from, and with the penalty tacked on, it's a big gain, Ottawa.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, Toronto number 21, first down.
Chris Gaines comes in, number 38, and he's looking to make the sack. Not picked up. Damon Allen shows his leadership and his running ability. That's a good play on Damon's part.
So that moves the ball to the 48-yard line. 1st and 10 Ottawa, 6:35 remaining in this opening quarter. The Argos lead 3-0. Damon Allen trying to dance around, but this time he couldn't escape Darryl Ford. Brian Warren actually forced Damon Allen back to the inside, and then Ford was there to finish off the job. Brian Warren, of course, was a member of the Ottawa Rough Riders a year ago. He was traded to the Toronto Argonauts for quarterback John Congemi in the offseason.
Sideline, please, gentlemen. Sideline.
Warren, of course, saw the play coming with the set of the Ottawa backfield.
Let's go, love. Let's go, love.
A loss on the play of 3, 2nd and 13. Damon Allen over the middle to Brown.
There's Eddie Brown, the fellow that we talked about, and he's got great speed. He pushes off the receivers, got a nice clearing pattern, broke it underneath the zone, and made a super catch.
He fired it into a crowd. It did not produce a first down, but Terry Baker, who has taken over the place-kicking chores, will try one from the 25-yard line. John Congemi holding, and the kick is good. So with 3:57 remaining in the first quarter, the game is tied at 3. Well, the first few weeks as a head coach have not been easy for Adam Rita. Of course, all the turmoil surrounding the Rocket. He was disappointed, obviously, at not having the Rocket for this season opener, but he feels his passing attack is in pretty capable hands with experienced receivers such as Trumaine Johnson and Jeff Boyd ready to accept those throws from quarterback Matt Dunnigan. Jeff Boyd has only had 2 practices with the Argos, but he is certainly familiar with the Toronto system. Mike Clemens on this kickoff return tried to go wide, slipped, still stays on his feet, loses the football. Ottawa claims they've got it. Do the officials agree? Yes. Eddie Brown goes wide left, 2nd and 10. Allen for Wilcox, incomplete. He was being covered by Don Wilson.
Intended for Wilcox. Down again by Wilson.
Terry Baker hasn't been able to do many field goals. He did it in university, but this is his first chance this year as a pro.
He was good on his first attempt. This will be a 40-yarder. It is certainly an advantage to a team when they can have the same individual handling both the place-kicking chores and the punting work, and Terry Baker is 2 for 2 in his CFL debut in a league game as a placement kicker. So with 2:40 remaining in this first quarter, the Ottawa Rough Riders lead it by a 6-3 margin.
This is a tough ballpark to play in. The crowd is right on the field, very similar to Winnipeg and Saskatchewan.
Clemens on the kickoff return, starting from the 20-yard line. And he's brought down as he gets out to the 37-yard line, tackled there by Brian Bonner. Side at the halfback position. 1st and 10. Dunnigan is in some trouble. He gets away from Stuman. And then Stuman finally gets back in the play to track him down at the 45. It's a gain of 8 yards. It will be 2nd and 2. There's the pitch to Clemens. Clemens gets away from Braswell and is brought down at the 52, but he does have the first down. 45 seconds remaining. It's 2nd and 10. Dunnigan rolls to his right for Trumaine Johnson for a first down at the 38-yard line. Andre Francis was over there to make the tackle.
Trumaine Johnson played for Mike McCarthy when he was the general manager, the personnel director of the Chicago Blitz, so Mike knows what he can do. Good speed, good body control. He sells the defender, Andre Francis, on the inside, makes a clean outside break, but a well-thrown pass by Matt Dunnigan.
1st and 10. The ball is at the 38-yard line. This should be the final play of the opening quarter. Over the middle, the pass is complete to Trumaine Johnson for another first down inside the 15. And that is the final play of the opening quarter as Dunnigan connects on back-to-back passes to Johnson and takes the ball down inside the 15. 6-3, Ottawa leads.
Dunnigan all the way was looking for that thing to be touchdown, and Foodie did a great job. They thought they had the mismatch, but Foodie showed them he's an enthusiastic ball player, and he really is.
Lance Chomick with the field goal to tie the game at 6. Stefan Jones on the kickoff return from the 15-yard line, and he gets an opening. And then is knocked down by the kicker, Hank Olisic, as he got up to the 40-yard line. Good field position for the Rough Riders. Scott?
Well, Don, there's no sort of casual access to the Argos bench tonight. You may be able to see all the photographers gathered around here. They're all trying to get the quintessential shot of the star himself, Rocket Ismail, who, of course, is not playing. So they posted extra security here at the Argos bench, and no one is able to get close to it, except, of course, if you're wearing the blue CBC jacket, a guy like me, and I know I can get by you, can't I? Is it okay if I go onto the Argo bench? No? No? Okay, thanks anyway. I guess not, Don.
Things haven't changed for you, have they, Scott? Reggie Barnes out to the midfield stripe. That will be a gain of about 9 yards. He's just a little shy of a first down. The ball right at the midfield stripe.
One of the things about the Rocket that people don't seem to understand is when you're at Notre Dame, you got 150 ball players. The lines are 10 deep. You only get one chance to run a route every 5 minutes. Here in the CFL, you run a pass route every 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and all of a sudden you're going to pull a leg muscle, and he wasn't used to the short lines. Players hate short lines.
Well, everyone, of course, is anxious to see what he will do when he does get into uniform, and hopefully that will be next Thursday night at the Skydome in Toronto when the Argos open at home against the Hamilton Ticats, and, of course, we'll be there to provide television coverage on the CBC network. He's playing a lot more zone with the Toronto Argonauts. This one is intercepted by the man sitting back there in the safety position, Chris Munford. Munford runs into one of his own men, linebacker Chris Gaines, but still gets the ball back to the 49-yard line. 12:03 remaining in the half, and the Argos take over on the Munford interception. Simon Fraser product Chris Munford, who may hold the distinction as well of being the only CFL player ever to be born in Nigeria, making the interception, playing that free safety position, simply sitting back there and waiting for it, Joe.
Well, that's what a safety is. He's a center fielder. And what a great block here by Barnes on Gaines. He sent it head over heels. Gaines was so dizzy he made the tackle on that last play on his own man.
I wonder how Bruce McNall enjoys the view from down at field level as he watches his Argonauts take over. 1st and 10. The ball is at the 48. Dunnigan throws that hitch screen to Jeff Boyd. And Sean Fody came up with help from Tracy Gravely to make the tackle. 2nd and 5. Mike Clemens makes the catch. And Greg Stuman came over to bring him down at the 45-yard line, but not before he had converted it into a 1st down Toronto. Clemens lines up wide to the left this time. 3 receivers to the right. As a receiver last year, Clemens had 905 yards of his 3,300-yard total. This is Darrell K. Smith grabbing the throw behind Lance Shields, and Shields just prevented Smith from going all the way.
Darrell K. Smith has a brother that played running back in the National Football League. Same body style, same size. The way he breaks it off and runs after he catches the football looks like Sherman Smith of the Seattle Seahawks. That's his older brother. He would have been proud of him.
Last year, Darrell Smith was the leading receiver, 93 receptions, 20 touchdowns, equaling Pat Abruzzi's record for touchdowns in the season. 1st and 10, Darrell Smith, touchdown!
29-yard TD pass to Darrell Smith.
Well, this is a scene we saw so often last year, 20 times to be exact. Darrell Smith being congratulated in the end zone after scoring a touchdown, and he produces the first touchdown to the delight of owner Bruce McNall of the 1991 season.
Darrell Smith has that long stride, but the thing that set this play up, as you can see, he's wide open. There's a reason that he is wide open. That's because of the outside receiver coming in and picking the defender. A well-executed play, but there can never be a pick called unless there's contact made. Was there contact made?
And the Toronto Argonauts with the point after by Lance Chomick, and they now lead by 7 with 9:51 remaining in the half. Well, turnovers can have such an impact on a football game. Following the interception by Chris Munford, it required just 5 plays for the Argos to put it in the end zone, and it was culminated in that 23-yard pass from Matt Dunnigan to Darrell K. Smith.
Matt Dunnigan has all his receivers spread out. There's 6 receivers across the field, and as you can see, they made the pick very clearly, opening it up for Darrell K. Smith. Untouched into the end zone. Little bit of contact.
2nd and 1. The give is to Barnes. Big hole. First and 10. Rob Smith and Gerald Roper opened the hole for Reggie Barnes as he galloped to the 30-yard line. 31, it's 1st and 10 at that point. Damon Allen sees a hole up the middle, but Harold Hallman very quickly recovered to close it off at the 25. Tony Kimbrough, who was with the team last year as well, is gone. He's out in BC. Pass complete to Conrad. Another 1st down. Don Moen and Reggie Pleasant made the tackle. 1st down over again. Complete to Barnes, stopped at the 2. Taken down on the far side of the field by Don Wilson and Darrell Ford. It will be 2nd and goal. The ball is at the 2. Touchdown, Reggie Barnes. House dives into the end zone. Doug Sams, the assistant coach with the Ottawa Rough Riders, said that in '91 he expected Barnes to be a more complete player, that he would be capable of more blocking and receiving than he was in his rookie season. So he scores the touchdown. John Kangemi will throw the ball to Terry Baker. The ball is still live, remember. Brian Warren picks it up. And it is still alive as Gaines dives on it at the 44. But we have seen before where a ball on a failed convert attempt has been live and returned the other way for 2 points. But not this time. Toronto maintains a 1-point lead.
Looking football play.
Clemens on the kickoff return. There's a penalty flag. This one could be called back by a holding call. There was a penalty flag back at the 15-yard line, and I think they are going to bring it back. Allen fakes over the middle to Brown. The sidelines and then hit a wide open Eddie Brown over the middle.
I think that fake really unhinged Reggie Pleasant, and Eddie Brown made the nice cut and the ball was perfectly thrown. The fans love Damon Allen here at Lansdowne.
I think Eddie Brown was surprised that he had that much separation between himself and Reggie Pleasant, generally acknowledged as one of the best corners in the CFL.
And Reggie Pleasant looked into the backfield, and that's the cardinal rule when you're in man coverage. Don't take a peek.
Terry Baker attempting the point after, but he kicked it wide. That's twice now that the Ottawa Rough Riders have had problems with the snap on a convert attempt. On the previous touchdown by Barnes, they did not ever get a chance to try the kick. That time, Baker's kick went wide of the upright. So the score is 18-13. He's lined up against Trumaine Johnson. Dunnigan goes the other way to Clemens. And Clemens bounces off a hit and converts it into a first down. 1st and 10. The ball is at the 51. 1:59 remaining in the half. Ottawa leading 18-13. Jeff Boyd makes the catch, and he has 2 Ottawa defenders on him immediately, Lance Shields and Jeff Braswell. It will be 2nd and 5. The ball is at the 54 of the Rough Riders. Kelly, the ball carrier, and he got across the 50 of Ottawa. That will be close to a first down, depending upon the spot. Matt Dunnigan will keep. He was driven back, but his forward penetration should be enough for that first down.
You know what kind of football player Matt Dunnigan is? I remember Matt getting hurt on a play like this. He wanted to make so many yards. I mean, he thinks he could make a touchdown on a quarterback sneak. Hurt his thumb 2 years ago and was out for a couple ball games. Oh, here we go again. He's just a tough, rough football player, and he wants to make more yards sometimes than is necessary. Oh, now it's either his eye or his thumb. But that's Dunnigan. He's such a competitor, such a fighter. Look at him. He's telling a trainer what to do.
He's complaining that he got poked in the eye by one of the Ottawa defenders. And I think he is suggesting that it was Jeff Braswell.
It must be Jeff, because Jeff and Matt are good friends. And I know what Matt was doing. He was inviting him to a party after the game.
1:14 is the time remaining, and Dunnigan will have to go out of the ball game.
Oh, it might have been Greg Stuhlman. I didn't see Jeff in there, but The left guard looked like he moved a little bit prematurely, so they might have been lucky to get off without a penalty on that play.
Dunnigan is still down, and this enables Ricky Foggy on the sidelines to
well, Matt's not going to let
reps.
Ricky. He won't let Ricky in there. Remember what happened last year? Foggy just didn't miss a beat last year when Matt Dunnigan got hurt and scored how many touchdowns, and he had 4 games where he had over 100 yards rushing.
Well, Ricky Foggy last year, when he came in place of the injured Matt Dunnigan, fired 23 touchdown passes. He only had 8 intercepted.
Why didn't you ask me who brought him into the league? You always ask me about the bad guys.
Another CFL recruit by Joe Galat. Ricky Foggy now in there at quarterback, replacing Matt Dunnigan. But Matt Dunnigan does not appear to be seriously hurt. Ricky Foggy can run with the ball, but he won't get far. Stopped by Greg Stuman after a gain of 2. Ricky Foggy last year ranked number 7 in CFL rushing.
He didn't fool Stuman and Braswell because they both played for the Lions, and they know Ricky's favorite play is a quarterback draw.
He's only kicked once tonight. That was out of the end zone. Brown lets it bounce into the end zone and will concede the single point. So with 20 seconds remaining in the first half, Toronto Argonauts pick up a point on the Hank Olisic single, and now it's a 4-point game.
It is Ottawa 18, Toronto 14 at the half, and we welcome you to Live at the Half at Lansdowne Park. And watching his first 30 minutes of CFL regular action with more than a passing interest was Raghib Ismail. Your impressions? Your impressions of the first half, sir?
Oh, I think everything is going pretty well. You know, a lot of guys getting their first-time jitters out, trying to make everything work out, but it's pretty exciting. I think it's going to get better as the second half goes on.
Now for the hard part of the interview. What of the injury? I know there were huge demands on your time after you signed the contract. Was it possible for you to stay in shape heading into camp, and did that factor at all into the injury?
Oh, I was definitely in shape coming into camp. I worked very hard. Even when I did go off on a road or something, I was able to get a good workout in wherever I was. So it was just a matter of getting, when I think you're leading to like the track. When I was running track, I wasn't able to get quality track workouts in, but as far as being able to work out for the season, I was definitely ready.
Raghib, when you're away from the team, you're injured, you're unable to practice, unable to play, it is easy to lose your focus on football. Have you been able to maintain that focus?
Definitely. It's not hard at all. You know, I've always been, since in high school, been able to keep a tough mental and also physical attitude as far as the approach to the game, and I know what it is that I have to focus on to continue or to have any kind of success, so it wasn't hard at all.
That pretty much answers the question I was going to ask you next, but I'll ask it anyway. Appearances on the Arsenio Hall show are fine, a new clothing line is fine, but you do realize then, obviously, that all of that is not possible unless you play and play well.
Well, things like that, those are just like extra things as far as I'm concerned. Football is what makes those opportunities for me, and it's like my main focus is football and nothing else.
When you signed that lucrative contract, did you have any idea what you were getting into? And I'm talking about leading your life under the same sort of scrutiny that Wayne Gretzky lives his under in hockey.
I thought that it would be very intense, and I was prepared for it, and I am prepared for it. So it's not as distracting or as, as mind-boggling as people might think.
So you would say that you've handled the scrutiny and the speculation well?
For myself,
yes.
I haven't let it affect me at all, no.
How's your family handling it?
My mother and everybody's doing well. When I tell them that there's nothing to sweat, nothing to worry about, they believe me and they just keep it like that. So it's no problem at all.
Wayne Gretzky giving you any advice on how to conduct yourself and get through this trying time when you're unable to play?
He's given me a couple of hints, and he's told me that as it goes on, it'll get easier for you, and things will come along where the people in the organization and myself will be able to make things a lot more comfortable. So it's like, it's no problem at all, and he's really gave me some helpful hints as far as that's concerned.
You look at the countless photographers on the sidelines, guys like me asking you for no end of interviews. Obviously the pressure is building by the minute when you're unable to play. Some pressure for you to do a lot of things, be almost magnificent when you do play your first game. Do you acknowledge that pressure?
No, I don't. I don't put any more pressure on it than I have to, and all of this, I don't look at it as pressure. It's something that is a part of the game, and you have to deal with it.
If you were a betting man, would you bet that you would play next week?
I would, but then again, the doctors could come in and spoil everybody's odds, I guess. So
I'll just say this, we're doing the Hamilton-Toronto game next week, and I hope that you're playing and far too busy to be doing interviews like this with us.
Cool, thank you.
Okay, thanks for your time, Rocket. I appreciate it. Stay with us when Live at the Half returns. We'll go live to Edmonton to speak to a colleague of ours, former linebacking great Dan Kepley, standing by there.
A little different than what Adam Reed had told us initially, that he wanted to throw the ball and not run very often.
Clemens on the kickoff return. Brought down by Sean Foudy up at the 37-yard line. Matt Dunnigan, you'll recall, was injured late in the first half. Apparently he is all right and will continue in the second.
One of the keys to this ball, one of the keys, I think, to the ball game may be how well Matt Dunnigan does in the option plays. I know he can throw the football, I know he can scramble, but the option play looks like it has a chance to go with Matt keeping the football.
His touchdown throw, a 23-yarder, went to Darrell Smith. 1st and 10. The ball is at the 37. The draw play with Keith Kelly. Stopped by the safety, Scott Flagel, but not before he got up to the 46-yard line. Hank Olisic had a booming 56-yard single to pick up a point. And that gives him a punting edge over Terry Baker. Eddie Brown on the return is stopped at the 40-yard line. David Allen gives to Barnes. Harold Hallman, a former Rookie of the Year with the Calgary Stampeders, makes the tackle. A loss in the play of about 3 yards. He's looking at 2nd and 13. Brown is going to go deep. Can Allen find him? No, he's going to have to try and run for a first down, and he'll get it. Ball between the 46 and the 47. This one is knocked down by the middle linebacker, Chris Gaines. Stefan Jones was the intended receiver, but Chris Gaines went up to knock that throw down from his middle linebacking position.
That looked exactly like Dan Kepley.
Just one man back to accept the Terry Baker punt. That's Mike Clemens. That bounced off his shoulder pads, but fortunately for the pinball, he got it back at the 15. Rob Podanovic was downfield to make the tackle. 11:22 remains in the third quarter. Bart Hull, one of the celebrated off-season signings, but not by the Ottawa Rough Riders. He was drafted by the BC Lions, and then, unable to sign with the Lions, he was traded to the Ottawa Rough Riders. He was not drafted by the Ottawa Rough Riders. That's what I was attempting to say.
He's got a nice number on there, number 16. I think his father and his brother wore that same number, and he's just been complimented by George Cortez, the special teams coach, telling him what a good job he's done, and I think George Cortez has done a good job. The Ottawa special teams look really strong.
1st and 10 from the 15. Trumaine Johnson unable to hang on. It will be 2nd and 10. Yes, people may forget that his famous father, Bobby Hull, wore number 16 when he first broke into the National Hockey League. And, of course, his brother wears number 16 for the St. Louis Blues. He fakes. Didn't fool Glenn Kolka. Now Dunnigan runs for his life, tries to dive for that first down, and will be close at the 26.
This is really a neat game to watch because both quarterbacks dare you to have good pass coverage, and then they just take off and run and make a bad play a good play. I think both Damon Allen and Matt Dunnigan are very similar, and what they shine at is when the defense is doing a good job, if you can believe that.
Well, strangely enough, they were teammates with Edmonton, similar styles, and a situation where Damon Allen was unhappy about the amount of playing time. He wound up coming to the Ottawa Rough Riders. Subsequently, Matt Dunnigan was traded.
Well, Edmonton always does a great job of scouting. Ray Newman is the best, and well, maybe he's not quite as good as Roy Shivers. In fact, that's what Roy Shivers told me, but there's two great scouts in the CFL, and You got to look at Edmonton's quarterbacks and marvel at how many good ones they have.
Well, Dunnigan, diving on the sidelines, did reach that forward marker, 1st and 10. The ball is at the 26. High throw, but Clemens manages to haul it down, and then he's dragged down immediately by Patrick Wayne. Flag, 2nd and 6. Intercepted by Andre Francis. He pitches the ball off. That was a forward lateral to Daniel Hunter. Depending on the call, it may very well be Ottawa ball, but it won't be a touchdown because that was a forward lateral as Andre Francis pitched off to Hunter.
Of course, the key is when the whistle was blown because Chris Schultz picked his hand up prior to the snap, so it's illegal motion, illegal procedure by the offensive team.
Procedure, Toronto 54, declined, offside pass, Ottawa, 1st down.
Andre Francis protesting to the official that he did not think he threw that ball forward to Daniel Hunter. But you see Chris Schultz and Skent, 67 and 64, both pull out of their stance prior to the ball being snapped. That was the procedure call against Toronto.
Andre Francis, this is his specialty. He loves to lay off, watch the quarterback's eyes and pick it up. Did a good job on the interception.
To the 20-yard line. Reggie Barnes cuts into the middle. He'll be close to another 1st down. Driving to the 10-yard line. Good fake by Allen. Being chased by Warren. Looks into the end zone. It's intercepted. Chris Munford with his 2nd interception of the game. The safety picks off the throw in the end zone.
When the quarterback scrambles.
7:49 remains in the half as the Argos, Chris Munford, snuffs out an Ottawa scoring drive. Well, Chris Munford has certainly had a great start to this 1991 season. His 2nd interception of the ball game. And that wipes out a potential Ottawa scoring drive. I think Eddie Brown was the target of Damon Allen on this throw.
Well, Damon's trying to throw a touch pass, and there's too many people in there to throw a touch pass. You've got to throw a bullet. When you're scrambling and your receivers are trying to find a seam, he has got to throw the thing like a dart. And what he did is he tried to drift it in. Mumford came across, knew that Eddie Brown was the intended receiver, and jumped in front. It was a good alert play by the safety on 2 interceptions, 2 very different interceptions.
1st and 10, Toronto. They are at the 25-yard line. 18-14, Ottawa leading. 7:37 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Wide open on the sidelines is Andrew Murray, and he takes the ball to the midfield stripe. So often after a turnover, Dunnigan will try and come back and hit you with the big play. 1st and 10 from the midfield stripe. Makes the catch on the sidelines, and he's caught by Lance Shields at the 30. But the Toronto Argonauts very quickly move into scoring range.
As Matt throws the football, he takes the headgear, probably on his left hand, and the chest.
So Paul Massotti comes into the ball game as a replacement for Jeff Boyd. It's 2nd and 10, the ball at the 30-yard line. Dunnigan throws deep for Johnson, incomplete. Trumaine Johnson and Randy Marriott failed to show up for the preseason game in Hamilton, and Adam Rita said initially he was concerned that maybe they'd been involved in a car accident. Then his next reaction, he was really annoyed and angered at them. And then when he found out that Johnson missed because of personal problems, he sympathized with him and is happy to have him back. Lance Truman adding the field goal to bring the Toronto Argonauts within 1 point of the Ottawa Rough Riders with 5:51 remaining in this 3rd quarter. was looking for Brown, but that was a good defensive job by Reggie Pleasant. We talked earlier about how Pleasant was beaten badly by Brown on the touchdown. You saw evidence right there of why Reggie Pleasant is considered one of the best corners in the league. Last year, John Kangemi was in the employ of the Toronto Argonauts, traded to Ottawa for Brian Warren.
Steve Goldman likes Kangemi, particularly as a relief pitcher. He said he's a good passer. He's got a great head, great eye for the game. You can see they're always having conversations going on about that halfback blitz that they saw in the last play. I know what Kangemi just told him. Coach, they were blitzing with the halfback.
Clemens was unable to get that football on that third down punt. And he was brought down by Rob Prodanovic with 4:42 left in the third quarter. A good crowd in attendance at Lansdowne Park for this season opener. The official crowd count has not been announced, but I would guess that it could be the largest season opener that they have ever had at Lansdowne Park.
With or without the Rocket, they're having a good time here.
They're enjoying the fact that the Ottawa Rough Riders are leading, but their advantage has been reduced to a single point. And this is Mike Clemens, the ball carrier, bouncing off a couple of tackles and picking up about a 5-yard gain. You know, Clemens last year had 3,300 all-purpose yards, 519 as a runner, 905 as a pass receiver, 831 in kickoff returns, and 1,045 on punt returns. And Adam Rita told us yesterday that he figures that Clemens could better those figures this year.
He likes Clemens in every respect. He likes Clemens coming out of the backfield as a receiver. He likes him on the punt returns and kick returns, and of course on the quick hitting draw plays.
2nd and 5. Dunnigan over the middle to Jeff Boyd, and what a hit he takes. The ball comes loose. Scott Flagel, the safety, really decked Jeff Boyd.
Well, I think that's a case where somebody should dial 911. When you throw that football over the middle against Flagel, he loves to see that. He loves to have a free shot, and that's what he took, and the crowd loves it even more.
But they're ruling that the whistle had gone and that he was down before he lost the football. Let's watch. Well, he did hit the ground before the ball popped loose, and the ground, of course, cannot make you fumble. Clemens, the ball carrier, out to the 42. Flagel, after leaving Winnipeg, went to Calgary, Hamilton, and then last year to Ottawa. He plays that safety position for the Rough Riders. He plays it well. On the sidelines, Andrew Murray makes the catch. He managed to keep those feet in bounds. Darrell Smith forced out of bounds by Daniel Hunter. He appears to be about a yard short of a first down. Well, his forward progress was enough for a first down. It is 1st and 10 from the 42. Fine catch by Andrew Murray over the middle. A first down at the 15-yard line.
All right.
He undoubtedly has a lot of people in Ottawa who remember his play with the Carleton Ravens. That's where he went to school.
And he played well for the BC Lions in 1988. Matt delivers the ball. Andrew has played the receiver perfectly. He's taken the inside position, concentrated on catching.
Pass is complete for a gain of about 6 yards to Trumaine Johnson.
Complete to Johnson.
You know, it was interesting. Adam Rita said, we're going to throw the football this season. Rest assured of that. He said, run is almost a swear word in our offensive vocabulary.
His first half wasn't like that. He ran the football quite a bit, but now Matt has got that confidence going that happens when a quarterback completes a series of passes.
A pickup of 7. It's 2nd and 3. The ball is at the 8. 39 seconds remaining. Kelly, the ball carrier, stopped after a pickup of about 1.
Kelly, the ball carrier.
Adam Rita decides to take no chances on 3rd and 2, or at least it would appear he isn't going to take any chances, as Lance Chomick comes in to try a 14-yard field goal.
Dunnigan is the holder, so you never know.
And Lance Chalmers
14 yards, the field
is
by
good
Chalmers.
from
Toronto 20, Ottawa
the
18.
14-yard line, and with 1 second remaining in this third quarter, the Toronto Argonauts move in front by 2 points. You know, you talked about Ricky Foggy always having a smile on his face. Adam Rita always seems to be smiling on the sidelines as the head coach of the Argos. He seems to be rather relaxed.
That's stark evidence that he's a rookie coach. Any coach that smiles on the sidelines, he's probably new at it. But Matt Dunnigan, I talked about him as a holder. I can recall a ball game last year when the score was 68-12, and he went out to hold for a field goal or for an extra point. He picked the ball up and actually went for 2 to make it 70. So you never know with Matt Dunnigan holding if it's going to be a fake placement. But that guy would never pick the ball up. He would put it down and make sure that they got the kick away. And I resent people calling him a wide receiver because he is not a wide receiver. John Candy could play on the offensive line. He's a tough guy.
Offensive lines. Damon Allen fakes. Now he's going to run. He'll get the first down. Don Moen, the linebacker, came over to make the tackle. One man back. That's Mike Clemens. Good high kick. Clemens waits for it. He's boxed in, but then dances away. And look out! Greg Stuman is blocked by Pleasant. Another block as Clemens tries to cut back inside and is tripped up at the 3.
And the rocket has been launched. Or is that the missile or the stealth fighter?
It appeared as though Clemens had been boxed in over at the 15-yard line, and he bounced off a couple of tackles and then converts it into a 93-yard punt return. Last year, he returned 2 punts for touchdowns. He got a couple of key blocks, one of them from Reggie Pleasant.
They call Clemens the pinball, but I would call him Super Ball. Carl Brazeley had to come downfield, made a key block, and did a good job, but Clemens to get all the way down after being hit 5 times has certainly showed great effort. Watch Clemens give people his body, and like a Super Ball, he bounces with more momentum after they get something on him. Look at that. He just squirts out to the side and just has a great acceleration. What a fun guy to watch. Watch Brazeley with a great effort coming down to get Terry Baker. And that, you see Stuman with a great angle, and he is picked up right at the end, or he would have cut him off sooner. There's Stuman on the ground.
And Carl Brazeley trying to get back into the play to throw another block. And it was Sean Fody who prevented the touchdown. Carl Brazeley in there trying to do some additional blocking.
I coached Carl in Montreal, believe it or not, a whole 100 years ago, and he called himself at that time Dr. Death. But he's developed into quite a warm-up. You see him yesterday in the warm-ups. He had a ball stuck behind his jersey, and he had a Arabian robe on, and he was doing all kinds of crazy things. But that's a great football player to make 2 plays on 1 punt return.
So it's first and goal for the Argos from the 3-yard line. Dunnigan on the quarterback draw, touchdown.
Well, Matt knew what he was going to do. He spread the receivers out. And what happened with Matt is everybody had man-to-man coverage, and he said, I can beat 4 charging linemen any day. And he did. He juked, he went through, scored the touchdown, and that could be a key play in the ballgame.
Well, the key play, I would suggest, was that 93-yard punt return by Clemens. 1 yard better than his own personal best as an Argo. And with the point after by Lance Chomik, the Toronto Argonauts have opened up a 9-point lead. Obviously, they did not get the walk-up crowd they had anticipated. That's one thing that they do usually get in Ottawa is a large walk-up crowd.
They rely very heavily on their walk-up crowd. This stadium is very similar to being in Saskatchewan. The crowd is enthusiastic. It's very similar to being in Winnipeg because it is a football stadium. It's not a track stadium. And the crowd is right on top of you. It sounds like 50,000 people here, just like it does in Saskatchewan, just like it does in Winnipeg.
Well, Ottawa was the site of the 1988 Grey Cup game. The 1991 Grey Cup game will be played in Winnipeg, and it will take place on November 24th. And Grey Cup tickets will go on sale at 9:30 this Saturday at the Winnipeg Arena box office. So many of you fans who are planning on heading to the Grey Cup game, you can start making those ticket plans right now. Carl Brazeley back into the ball game, and the pass was intended for Jock Climby, knocked away.
I don't like to see them go high on the head. I don't think there's a place for that. I think you can hit a quarterback.
Jock Climby makes the catch down at the 35.
And Damon Allen answered the hit to the head with a perfect seam pass. He drops back, reads the zone coverage, and put the ball right into the seam. That's how to answer a defense that hits you in the head once in a while.
Jock Climby for the first down, initially drafted by the Toronto Argonauts out of Queens. This one is intercepted, picked off, his third of the ball game by safety Chris Munford. That one was deflected, and an alert Munford was there to scoop it up. James Ellingson was the intended receiver. It went off his fingertips, and Munford has his third interception of the night.
If you were to guess, you would say Mumford's the only guy open, but that's not what happened. They ran a curl pattern. Both curl people were open. Damon delivered it a little bit high, but when a ball hits you in the hands, you got to catch it, because if it's deflected, the bad guys get it.
Argos first and 10.
And those turnovers have certainly proven costly tonight for the Ottawa Rough Riders, particularly when they had that drive going in the third quarter, and Munford made the interception in the end zone. Dunnigan gives on a counteraction to Kelly, and Kelly has a first down.
First down, Argos.
The Ottawa Rough Riders have been shut out so far in this second half after enjoying an 18-14 halftime lead.
They've been knocking on the door, no question about it, but there's a guy that's gotten in the way twice, Mumford. He's made 2 interceptions down by his goal line.
The third interception of the night for Chris Munford. Reggie Pleasant, a teammate, twice has had 3 interceptions in a game. Carl Brazeley has had 3 in a game, so has Ed Berry. So Munford feels he just has to duplicate the performance of some of those other people in the secondary. Second and 5. The ball is at the 44-yard line. 3 receivers line up to the left. Dunnigan gives to Smelly on the draw play. He's got a first down. Smelly has been alternating with Kelly at that fullback position.
It was a good job of turning the defensive line rush to the outside. You can see the offense. Skimp does a nice job of just walling off the defender, and Smelly's got that first 5 yards free, and then he makes some yards on his own by lowering his shoulder going towards the goal line.
First and 10. The ball is at the 53 of the Rough Riders. 8:24 remaining in the game. Low throw to Darrell K. Smith, caught immediately by Daniel Hunter. In case you were wondering, as an Argo record, 3 interceptions in one game is not the standard. Art Johnson, way back in 1961, had 4. Good kick by Olisic. And it will sail to the back of the end zone.
We needed that.
Brown's going to try and run it out of there. But he won't get past the goal line. Don Moen was there to meet him head on, and I really don't understand that play. 7:04 is the time remaining. Well, the Hall of Famer Ron Lancaster is not with us tonight at Lansdowne Park. He's in Regina as the Edmonton Eskimos prepare to take on the Rough Riders, but his son, Ron Lancaster Jr., is here as an assistant coach with the Toronto Argonauts. He's a running backs coach after spending the previous 2 years at Acadia University. And this is our view from the press box as we are located right next door to the Toronto Argonauts spotting box. Trying to set up the screen. That was read by Don Moen. He came in to break it up.
That's what your linebackers are for. He did a great job of reading the screen setup. It's set up well. It looked like they were going to have blockers out in front of it. Don Moen came in and made a sure tackle.
Well, the last time the pinball handled a punt, he returned it 93 yards. This time, Rob Krivanovic made the initial contact with him. And Bart Hull is in there on that special team to assist on the tackle with 5:27 remaining in the game. They only won 4 football games in Goldman's first year, 7 last year, and he wants to improve upon that this season. Matt Dunnigan forced out of bounds. Knocked into the Ottawa bench as he tried to tiptoe down those sidelines. He was knocked out of bounds at the 45-yard line. That'll be a gain of 6 yards. It will be 2nd and 4. Brian Bonner, the linebacker, bounced Matt Dunnigan out of bounds. Just slightly over 50% on 2nd down conversions. They'll convert another on this pass to Jeff Boyd. 1st and 10. The ball is at the 48-yard line with 3:50 remaining. So the Toronto Argonauts controlling things with only 3 minutes remaining. They lead by 10.
7 nights' time will be at Skydome in Toronto to watch the renewal of the oldest rivalry in pro sports. Hamilton Ticats make the trip down the QEW to face the Argos, whom we believe will have Rocket Ismail in the lineup, telecast at 7 Eastern. And viewers in Southern Ontario, note you'll be the beneficiaries of the generosity of Bruce McNall, who has lifted the blackout. And here's the man who's got writer's cramp, John Candy, sitting in the stands tonight at Lansdowne Park, and he has been signing autographs, we understand, since his arrival, but he has taken in some of the action. Don?
Since becoming involved with the Argos, John Candy has also become tremendously involved with the Canadian Football League. And he is doing everything possible to try and promote the league, to market the league. And obviously, sitting in the stands, signing autographs throughout the entire game the way he has tonight, he is helping to promote the product.
He's not signing autographs. He's drawing up plays for Dunnigan.
The old Statue of Liberty play with the pinball. He loses the football at the goal line. After all that effort, are they going to rule that he made contact with the turf before fumbling? Or is it a turnover? It is a turnover. 39 yards, and the pinball loses the ball, trying to get in the end zone at the 1.
And you can be sure that Michael Clements is upset with himself. He sets up to show pass. Matt Dunnigan drops back. It's a Statue of Liberty play. Handing the ball, he's got some good peel back blocks. And once the pinball gets yardage beyond the line of scrimmage, he can make a big play happen. You just can't knock him off his feet. It's incredible because he has so much effort and because he makes right angle turns, and oftentimes the ball can't stay up with him.
He'll be upset with himself, though. He desperately was trying to get into the end zone and lost the ball at the 1-yard line. Glenn Kulka was the victim of one of those moves by the pinball, and as Kulka went down, he appeared to hurt himself, and he was helped off the field a few moments ago. And this is Dan Ferrone now, who is being looked at by the Toronto training staff down at the 1-yard line.
It's hard to stay up with the pinball, and when you try to move as quickly laterally as he does, and you weigh 265 pounds, sometimes those quadriceps aren't as strong as the pinballs with his 200-pound weight. Dan Ferrone looks like he's going to be all right. You can't hurt a lineman. They don't get hurt. They get bumped up, but they don't get hurt for very long. They're not allowed to be hurt. There's only about 5 or 6 of them.
2 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in the game. You know,
Look
Jeff
at Ferrone.
Boyd.
He's got that jersey sewed on so tight, the defense could never grab a hold of it.
1st and 10 from the 1-yard line. Damon Allen throwing down the sidelines. It's intercepted. Chris Gaines picks it off, a knuckleball that floated. And the Toronto Argonauts get the ball right back at the 11-yard line. Gerald Roper and Hallman were involved in some pushing and shoving down at the goal line, but this ball floated and Chris Gaines went up and made a one-handed interception to get the ball right back into the Argonauts' offensive hands.
Chris Gaines looks like a football player. He looks like he could be an offense or defensive lineman, but he showed some skill on that play. He showed that he's like Dan Kepley. He can drop back deep in zone coverage and make some receptions. Don't be mad at me, Dan.
2:20 remaining, and this should pretty well do it with the Argos taking over 1st and 10 at the 11-yard line. You know, I was going to say when you talked about the contact of the offensive lineman, for Jeff Boyd, who has not had the benefit of any contact at training camp coming into this game, some of the hits he has taken tonight will leave him as a very sore athlete tomorrow. But those bumps and bruises don't hurt as much when you're on the winning side.
Well, he's got a chance to get some reps next week, and I think both wideouts have certainly had their opportunities. They've had the football thrown to them, and Matt Dunnigan will do that. He'll throw the ball to all of his receivers, but you can tell they haven't had that communication, that silent communication that happens between a quarterback and receiver. Adam Rita said he was going to shoot out the lights, and later in the year he would blow off the roof, so I think we've got a lot to look forward to in Toronto's offense.
Well, last year without the Rocket, the Toronto Argonauts established a league record as they scored 690 points. With an explosive athlete like the Rocket to complement Mike Clemens, who knows what they might do. End zone pass, Jeff Boyd, touchdown.
Looked like it was a bit underthrown, but Matt likes to do that. He likes to do the throw behind. Here you see Jeff Boyd coming at the sideline, and what he wants to do is to give the impression he's going to try to run deep, and then Matt underthrows him, so he'll turn around and take the ball short. Defender had to play it deep. He's one-on-one. He cannot not take away the deep pass first.
The last year, the Argos had to track down Jeff Boyd and get him back into uniform. This year, they had to track him down again and get him back into uniform. And in his first game as a Toronto Argonaut in this 1991 season, he scores a touchdown. And with the point after, it's 35-18. Toronto leading Ottawa. So the length of time between Ottawa victories over Toronto is extended beyond the 4 years.
Adam Rita said that the hardest part of being a head coach was on the sidelines, but it's not hard now when you've got the game under control and you're patting guys on the back. That's the most fun that a coach can have. You know what he's thinking? I love every one of these guys. You know what Steve Goldman's thinking? I'd like to take these guys and punch them right in the nose. Why didn't they do what I told them? Adam Rita's going, gee, they did exactly what I told them.
Damon Allen won't get a chance to throw. He's hauled down by Mark Napierkowski. Both coaches late in this ball game, freely substituting backup players now, and Napierkowski gets an opportunity for a quarterback sack and makes the most of it.
Well, the Napper is, he's a football player. He's been around. He was over at Hamilton. He's with the BC Lions. A lot of experience. He He's traveled so much, he knows he can get a discount on the U-Haul trailers.
Allen almost intercepted by Don Wilson. Wilson had that one right in his hands. Could not hang on. Oh, look out. Dunnigan is hit from behind. The ball comes loose. That helmet came flying off Lloyd Lewis's head. But the Ottawa Rough Riders take over. A big hit from the backside on Matt Dunnigan. Daniel Hunter was blitzing from his halfback position, and Dunnigan never saw him coming.
Well, Matt didn't see this at all, and that's not like Dunnigan to let him have the free shot. But one of the disadvantages of having a spread formation, if you let that backside rush come in and it's unblocked, it can hurt your quarterback.
Friday, Edmonton, or tonight, I should say, Calgary's at BC in addition to this game. Tomorrow night, Edmonton at Saskatchewan. And then on Saturday, Winnipeg is in Hamilton. End zone catch by Brock Smith for the touchdown. They're ruling that he didn't catch the football. I guess they are. He's protesting.
That's why they have the extra official to make those calls, and the official was in good position. They were in man-to-man coverage, the officials, and he ruled that it was a trap, and that's a very tough call, but if you're behind the receiver and on top of the ball, you can see that. Damon Allen leads in perfectly. It's a well-thrown ball. Brock makes the adjustment.
Well, maybe that ball popped loose when he came down, because it certainly looked as though he had it in his hands when he extended. Incomplete, intended for Gerald Smith, being covered by Hunter. They're trying to set up the wall to the short side. J.P. Esquerdo, however, prevented the Ottawa Rough Riders from setting it up, as he was the first man downfield.
They've done a good job of containing Eddie Brown, and you get the feeling that if Eddie Brown gets the corner, he can go for a long way. 29
seconds remaining. The Toronto Argonauts celebrating an opening game victory.
Willie Gillis is the backup quarterback, and Dunnigan's getting some congratulations from him. Darrell K. Smith likes the way Dunnigan throws as well.
Well, we thought that we might see John Kangemi in the late stages of the ball game, but Damon Allen is staying in there. There's the screen for Reggie Barnes, and Rodney Harding came over to make the tackle. Don Moen was initially in reading that screen to Barnes.
They've done a good job of preventing the screen tonight, but I think what Steve Goldman is looking for is to get Damon Allen some confidence. He's had some turnovers. I don't think he wants to take him out with a bad feeling. Had that been a touchdown, you would have seen Kangemi. The play that was not ruled a touchdown, he wants him to have some success. Then Goldman would have taken him out.
Allen can't find a receiver. Allen got away from Napier-Kowski. Throws it over the middle and underthrows James Ellingson. And just 3 seconds remain in the game. Eddie Brown was way downfield, and he was wide open, but Allen couldn't find him.
Watch the frustration with Eddie Brown. He wants the football. He wants to do some things like he did in the first quarter. That's a tough thing, because the quarterback is scrambled. You found yourself open, and he just doesn't get the ball to you.
And this should be the final play of the ball game. Brian Warren thought he had a shot at Damon Allen. Mark Napier-Kowski thought he was going to get a quarterback sack, but Allen escaped both of them. Little swing pass to Barnes. On the sidelines, Barnes cutting back into the middle, gets away from Wilson. And Rodney Harding brings him down just shy of the midfield stripe. And that is the final play of the football game. as the Toronto Argonauts open the season with a 35-18 triumph over the Ottawa Rough Riders. So a successful head coaching debut for Adam Rita.
Adam's got to feel very good about it. The defense got the turnovers. The offense certainly looked effective, both running and passing the ball. So they're showing that they're two-dimensional, and the defense bent, but it didn't break. Special teams came up with a big play in the game on the punt return.
And there were many who were wondering how the Toronto Argonauts would react in their opening game of the season in view of all the turmoil that has surrounded them over the past couple of weeks. Adam Rita suggested he didn't think it would bother the team once they stepped onto the field, that they were trying to put it all behind them. And when you have a player such as Mike Clemens, who racked up 253 total yards tonight, including a 93-yard punt return, a lot of your problems can be put to rest. And the Argos win it by a score of 35-18.
One, two, three, four. Hey! Who knows it's got that air thing? No shoes. Who knows it? Stop. This is ridiculous. I'm an athlete, not an actor. Who knows it's got that air thing? Where's that music coming from? Who knows it's... You know I don't have time for this.
But I do. Hit it.
Yeah! Who knows it's got that air thing?
The issue's been decided in Game 1 of the 1991 CFL season. The Argos settled it with a 17-point victory, thanks in large part to our Molson MVP. Safety Chris Mumford campaigned successfully for the award with 3 interceptions. It was a night that cried out for a star who was playing, and Mumford intercepted this ball. The Argos turned it into a scoring drive. His following 2 interceptions both snuffed out Ottawa touchdowns, so he played a huge role in tonight's victory. Chris Mumford is our Molson MVP. And Adam Rita is the winning head coach. He is with us now. Adam, first of all, you get the win in your first crack at it, first game as a pro head coach in the regular season. I suppose it's a game you will not soon forget.
No, it's one I'll remember for a long time. We had so much adversity and things happening to us, and our guys played well.
Well, the adversity you refer to had so much to do with the Rocket Ismail controversy. You rose above it and showed you still had a pretty good football team.
Yes, we're good. You know, I think that our guys proved that. The defense, you know, they really came through for us in our special teams. And Mike Clemens, he's just one of the guys. Chris Mumford, our O-line, you know, we did what we had to do.
You run the offense, lead the defense to somebody else, but I suggest you had to notice Chris Mumford tonight.
Oh yeah, I always say, come on defense, and they rose to the occasion when we turned the ball over.
Now just imagine how good you could be with Rocket Ismail in the lineup next week, if he's as good as you believe he is.
Well, I got to thank management, Mike McCarthy, and the owners for bringing him in. I think that he'll be an added plus to our team. You know, but Boyd and Tremaine Johnson I have a night too. So, you know, we're going to have a lot of weapons. It's just deciding how we're going to use them.
All right, Adam, congratulations on the win. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
So the Argos did not have Rocket Ismail tonight, but they had more than enough to beat the Ottawa Rough Riders. It's the first time in 5 years the Argos have won their season opener. It's now been exactly 4 years since Ottawa beat Toronto. The Rough Riders fall by 17 tonight.